and they check my ID and they count out $10,000 in cash and hand me a bag with a bunch of camera equipment and women's underwear. And they're like, there you go.
Holy shit.
I've been excited all day long.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the podcast, Maxwell.
Thank you.
Welcome to MiXEDAPES. This is Maxwell Theodore Vivian, writer, producer, television maker, and all around pretty good dude. How you doing?
I like to think so. I'm doing really good, man. Just trying to stay sane in quarantine, and not melt.
Yeah, it's been hot. It's been real hot. What are your secrets to keeping cool?
House sit for someone at a house that has central air.
Yeah,
is the best
that's a good
advice
move.
I can give.
Not everyone can do that, but if you can, jump on it.
Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
So we'll put the address of this house in the comments so people can sign up to do it later.
We'll switch.
Fun playlist, man.
This playlist is an act of aggression. It's an act of aggression
against me.
Against you. This playlist was designed to make you angry because you set the limit for the playlist at 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I was like, as we spoke about, I was like, no, because then that people are going to prioritize shorter songs. And so you're sort of like self-selecting out longer 17-minute post-rock meandery shoegaze anthems.
Well, you could have a playlist with one big song on it, and that's fine too.
One Tool song.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know Black Speed You God Emperor? That's not right. Yeah, you have like just the intro of one of theirs.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Those good shit.
It's a good song and people might like it. Yeah, I mean it's anxiety inducing making playlists. I'm not like a playlist making person.
11 songs.
But 11 songs, yeah.
Insane.
30 on the dot.
Right at 30. Impressive. That's just good math.
That was a lot of finagling, and it's a constant balance between how much do I actually like this song versus how important is it for me to stick it to Mike on his own show.
I felt well balanced. I got my first impression of this playlist was like, oh, it's rocking. I know most of these bands, I'm really enjoying this. And then I kept imagining it's like the soundtrack for like I don't know the era exactly, but it's definitely like an angsty kid where it's like half of the movie is just like staring out the window while his parents drive him. Just like watching trees pass by. There's a lot of that feel in this, but like in a good way. That seemed shitty, but that was like, that's my experience of growing up. So it felt very nostalgic, even though I'm not like, this isn't a playlist I would have put together, but I fucking dig it. Yeah. Rockin'. I like rock guitars.
I'm glad. I don't make a lot of playlists. Like that's just not how I listen to music. I just have my massive library and it's shuffled or I'm listening to a specific album. So like the experience of making a playlist already was pretty unique. I'd fiddle with it when I was supposed to be working, and the Adderall would take over, and it's like, oh, you just spent 4 hours creating a trip hop playlist for no one. Like, what's wrong with you? But so work has gone into this one, as all of them have, I'm sure. But I spent a lot of time like, I need a 2-minute song. I can't be over 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it felt much in the like sort of like my favorite part of these kind of playlists is you want it to feel episodic, so if you sit down, you much like back when we were younger, your favorite band would come out with an album and you'd sit down and like listen to the album. I like the idea that you would listen to one of these playlists all the way through, and this definitely had a sort of like a progressive feel. Like I had an impression of it, and then I think you're going to explain to me your thoughts, which I'm eager to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that connects playlists is like it's all stuff that's like punk adjacent because I don't really know what punk music is. I never listen to like original punk or whatever. But the early stuff's sort of like dance punky and things
Hmm.
like that. And it gets a little sludgier and more traditional punk and honestly like less approachable, I think, the longer it goes on. So like at 11 songs, I don't think anything overstays its welcome. But I was also like, if people get if they get through the last song, like that's fucking great. If they drop off one or two before,
I
we
understand. That's
try.
pretty punk. Yeah. Um, yeah. Do you want to, let's walk through them. Let's start with song number one.
Yeah.
This is a band I think most people are probably at least familiar with. If they're not familiar with their work, they're familiar with the band just in general because they're an interesting two piece and they've got a fantastic band name.
Yeah, Death from Above, 1979. Although they dropped the 1979, that like so I heard about this band. I heard their music for the first time the day they broke up, back in like they broke up in
2006.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was like I saw these articles and I was like, oh, well, check it out. And it was immediately, my favorite thing at the time. I was like, well, this sucks. Like now I'm not gonna get to see him live. And then so they get back together.
That's a very like Maxwell like life event. Oh, cool! My favorite band broke up. That sucks.
Broke up today. Oh no.
We're not
Um,
saying it's your fault, but we're not saying it's not your fault.
yes, and I wish I could take responsibility for them getting back together, but it had nothing to do with that either. Uh, but that was like I think almost 10 years, 7 years, 8 years, something like that later. And so everyone's been waiting on this album. And so this track is the opener off of this album, their first release in 10 years. And it's just like such a energetic, bombastic, just fucking drum filled, amazing opener.
Yeah,
So,
straightforward,
easy.
driving, bass led fuzz rock. It's awesome.
Yeah. I love it. I love like the fact that they're a two piece tickles me to no end because I'm just like, yeah, man, it's just two people making noise.
Yeah, both of those guys because it's basically a percussion band. So you've got a guy just wailing away on his bass guitar, and then his friend sitting next to him wailing away on his drum set, and that's a lot of energy.
Yeah. This album came out. I mean, I was in LA. I was working as an assistant, and I just remember I had a car that like only took CDs at the time, and so I burned this on a CD and just listened to this album over and over and over as I drove around LA doing runs during the day with my windows down, and so it just has that like association burned into my brain where it's like, yeah, I'm working, but also like this free feeling of being out and about and driving aggressively and getting yelled at and yelling at people and you know just yeah, Los Angeles life.
Can you tell me your most do you have a memorable PA run? I know most people that have PA'd have like the one moment where they're like, Jesus.
Yeah, I have two that I think are equally good. There's one I got sent to a hotel to pick up things for someone I won't name. But it was a client had left some stuff behind in this hotel, and they're like, just make sure you have your ID on you. And I was like, I don't. Okay. So I get to the hotel. I'm like, hey, I'm picking up things for X. They told me to bring my ID, and she's like, oh yeah, come with me. And so they take me over to this side room off of the lobby, which was like I didn't know these places existed. And so I'm waiting with this, I guess, concierge, and then a manager comes in and with like a cash box, and they check my ID and they count out $10,000 in cash and hand me a bag with a bunch of camera equipment and women's underwear, and they're like, "There you go."
Holy shit. Did you have to bring it back to that celebrity, or did you bring it back to the office? And
I brought it back to the office, and someone else shipped it out. But I was just like, I never found out what that was about, and I never.
I've got a pretty good idea of what happened. There was an argument about money, and that prostitute died.
Oh God, very possible. Although it was a very classic establishment. This was like the Beverly Hilton or the Four Seasons or someplace
Hmm.
equally nice.
So it might have
Um,
been that he pulled out of, I'm assuming it's a he, pulled out a ton of cash, and then she was like, "Oh no, it's no credit only," and he was like, "Oh, what am I
yeah,
gonna do with this $10,000?"
I think it was pre Venmo, so she couldn't. Yeah, maybe she had Square.
Yeah,
Um,
swipe. Uh, that's amazing. And he's like, "Oh, and the
yeah,
airline miles."
and then of course you're just worried about like I'd never carried 10,000 in cash with me one time, so you're just worried about getting robbed when why would like I was driving a 2001 Honda Elantra, no one's pulled me over and try and rob me.
It's just like somehow people just know. Like people are just like, "Oh, that dude's got money on him." You can just
Yeah,
tell.
look how weird he's acting. Yeah, that was one. The other one, I was picking up raw milk. And so raw milk, if you don't know, is unpasteurized milk. It's illegal.
Yep.
But if you have raw milk connects, you can get it. You can get the stuff. Um, so like the raw milk guy wasn't able to make his normal delivery, so I had to go get the raw milk from the raw milk guy. And so it was like, oh, he's at the Scientology Center.
Oh, of course.
Go to the Scientology Center, and he's going to leave a key for you at the desk. So I go there. I go to the front desk, and at the front desk of the Scientology Center are just the two most beautiful people I've ever seen. One man, one woman. And I was like, oh, okay, this is how they get you.
Yeah.
But got the key. I go in this. It's just like a white van in the middle of this parking lot, with some refrigerated like boxes, like styrofoam boxes with some ice packs in them. I picked up the raw milk and gave the key back, and just continued on with my life because
What level are
that's what you
you
do.
now in the church?
Uh, you think my career would be going better if I had signed up?
It seems like it's going pretty good regardless. So you don't even have to wear
Yeah,
khakis and a clipboard.
this is true. I've got a buddy who lives right by the Scientology Center now, and he says like at all times of the day, there's like a person with a clipboard watching another person like crawl around outside and do shit, and they're taking notes and just weirdness like that. Um, Also, if any Scientologists see this, please don't hurt me.
Yeah, I just don't, I'm ignorant about it. It seems batshit crazy, but most things I see seem batshit crazy and I make fun of all of it. You know what I mean? Have you ever,
Yeah,
what's that place right across the street, that great little brunch place? I think it's called like Square One. Do you know what I'm talking
yeah,
about? You ever
yeah,
been
yeah.
there? I was with a
Awesome.
friend once, and we were sitting on the patio, and I'm a very loud person. I don't mean to be. I was just born that
What?
way. But
What?
we were just making jokes and cracking each other up, and then I remember very specifically a very dumb joke where I was like, because there was across on Caddy Corner, there was a little corner like boutique kind of shop, and it was like now leasing, you know. And I was like, dude, we should see how much it is to rent that place out. Maybe we could start up a Scientology themed gift shop, like it was like around the time. Remember when that like the Jerry Maguire store popped up in Echo Park?
That one I have not heard of, but they've been doing a lot of those now. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like in that vein. I was like, what if we do like funny Scientology themed knickknacks and we call it L. Ron's Cupboard, right? And it got like a laugh from behind me, and I like, but like no one else like heard it or really laughed but me and my buddy. It's like a very
Yeah.
silly premise for a bit, you know.
Yeah.
And the waiter who had laughed behind me like came up and he was like, hey, that was pretty funny, just so you know, there's a lot of like higher up like Scientology people eating right now. So it's, I mean, I'm not saying like don't, but like I don't want to die.
Yeah.
He didn't say the last part, but we felt it. And so I was just
It
like,
was
just
heavily
kidding.
implied.
All weird religions are fine, you know.
You could take that joke. Isn't Hugo Weaving in Lord of the Rings? Isn't he Elrond, the elf? Just recycle that joke on a different audience.
Yeah. Well, now I will. Thank you. Maxwell the
Although
writer,
it's still a
everyone.
Scientology joke. That's bad. No, I'm giving you bad advice because then it's still a Scientology joke because that guy doesn't have Hubbard in his name.
Yeah, and
I
then
take it back.
it's a movie studio and a cultish religion coming after me. So
Everyone's mad.
let's just end the podcast here and never release it.
Yeah, flee the country.
It's pretty fun. I'd love to flee the country. Are we allowed to do that?
No, we're not allowed anywhere. If you go someplace for work, I think you have to quarantine in a hotel room for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
Like that's what I think that's the rules in Canada, which sounds especially awful.
I just started working on a show that's getting filmed up in Canada, and the executive producer is in a hotel room for 2 weeks. He's just in there. He's like he's going crazy.
He's like taking calls and working.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Just
like
can't leave.
Can't leave. You have to add an app to your phone called like Canada Tracks You. Sorry.
Well, I mean that's why they have it somewhat under control. But yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. Song 2. Come on. By
The Von Bondies. I remember I caught this music video on like MTV2 around the time it came out. Love the song, and it's just sort of migrated in my library ever since. It's just like awesomeness to like minute ratio is so good. It's just all fun and uplifting and gives me that feeling in my chest where I'm just like do stuff, you know.
It's the song you play as you run up to and then off of a diving board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you can do a backflip, you do it to that song.
Yeah. And like all the stuff like I was telling you earlier is, you know, punk adjacent. And these guys were like blues punk or post-punk revival. I went on like a deep dive of Wikipedia music genres because I find that stuff fascinating. Yeah, post-punk revival, because there's punk in the 70s, post-punk late 70s. I think it's like Devo and guys and bands like that. Post-punk revival was like The Strokes, White Stripes, all that kind of stuff. So this is in the post-punk revival sphere.
It's really
and
irritating.
That's all I know about.
I was just gonna say we are currently entering the post-punk revival.
Yes,
which is really bizarre.
A song coming up later is a post-punk revival band.
Genres,
which I don't know if people actually call it. Genres are dumb. I don't get them. They seem to be really tied to time, which seems to like time and place, which to me seems like it invalidates the concept of a genre, because like then you're it's more history at that point, like than sound. Right.
It's not like in the 70s there were horror movies and now we have post-horror revival. No, it's still just horror movies. That's a genre.
Yeah. If you want to designate time, do it some other way. I will die on this hill.
Oh yeah, no, the view's great up here. I'm happy with it.
Did you watch a lot of MTV?
Not a ton. I watched more MTV when it was like music videos, and then I was more like MTV too, because I enjoy music. To this day, I still like music videos. The best part about like finding a band you like is then finding if they have a cool video to watch.
Yeah, I remember with this video, I don't know, I don't think I've watched it since I saw it the first time, and I had to be like 15 or younger, but I just remember it's like the lead singer of the band's going around, and it's like a flat shot, like a Wes Anderson movie or something, and he's like letting the other band members out of like dog cages or something. It doesn't seem like it would go with the song, but it does.
I was just thinking of musical genres, and it really should just be two genres: slaps, doesn't slap.
That's really all that matters.
That's right, yeah. Then I like that song slaps, and then I like that you go Death from Above, the Von Bon days, and you're like, we're coming right back.
Yeah. I agonized over which Death from Above songs to put on the playlist because I love them all. And like I said, I listen to this album incessantly. But this one is just, it's one of the one that starts off kind of rough and then it just has that beautiful chorus and so good.
There's not a ton of like two pieces that's like that's bass forward. The only other one I could think of off the top of my head is do you know the instrumental band L1011?
No, I don't know.
They do some pretty cool stuff, but it's like it's just such a like you couldn't find one other guy.
Yeah.
Especially because
right.
like you
Born
listen
of
to all these
necessity.
songs and there's like extra stuff happening in them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would love to see them perform live just to see how they like pull off some of the sound and the tones they get.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah,
like,
they definitely.
or go for it.
I was going to the guy, Jesse, the bassist. He's on synth keys like a bunch of the time. Some of the songs are just synth and not any bass at all. But
Good to know.
I saw them live finally after I didn't see them when they toured to support the second album. The third one came out. It's pretty good too. I had tickets to see them live and I go to the show and it just like sucked. It was terrible to show it, like probably literally waiting like 10 years to see these guys. And it was so bad that I would think like one of my top 3 bands of all time. Going to see one of my favorite bands the next night, the Dillinger Escape Plan, not punk, would never put that on the playlist for other people, but they're very good. The Death from Above show was so bad that I was like, I don't even think I want to go to this Dillinger show. Like, live music sucks. God is dead. What's the point? Dragged myself out, took the subway down to downtown, the metro. Greatest show I've ever been to.
Nice.
So glad I went. Incredible.
It saved your musical soul.
It saved my musical soul. And like thinking back to that concert now, I'm just like, one day I'll get that feeling again. Probably I'll be, I won't be as close to the mosh pit. I don't mosh, but I like to stand on the edges and just like watch the kids beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah. I'm like a kind of a big guy. Like, I'm not going to go. I don't want to hit anyone. Like, go away.
Yeah.
I'm trying to listen to the music.
At this show, there was a kid in a sling, and I was like, "Dude, what happened to your arm?" He was like, "Oh, the mosh pit at the blah 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 concert on Thursday," and I was just like, "What are you doing?"
I like music because it hurts.
Yeah, I get the like. So many songs on this playlist get me, and I'm just like, I'm gonna headbutt someone, but I'm like, cool. I felt that feeling, and now it has passed, and I can just like be a normal person again. I don't need to actually do it. Although at that show, this dude gets knocked like way off his ass over tea kettle, as some Southern gentlemen say. His shoes go flying into the air. Everyone around, like some guy picks up the shoe, points at it in the air. Everyone stops moshing and points at the shoe until they can find the guy whose shoe got knocked off and give it back to him. And then they immediately start beating the shit out of each other again, which I thought like I was sort of touched by.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's a community coming together. Do you know what I mean? We need more of that.
It is cool. I guess it's cool that it is. Most people are like, this is just what we do. Like, it's not in anger. We're not actually like trying to hurt each other. Not for me, but
it's fun. What a fun one. I've always wanted to crowd surf. I've never crowd surfed.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I ever bought one of these guys. To get
a guitar?
Good enough. Yeah. That's what I could get good enough where people were like, jump into the crowd. And I'd be like, okay. Never happened for me.
If you insist.
There's still time.
Crowd surfing, I think, has been cooler longer than anything else. Crowd surfing has always been cool. I imagine it will always be cool.
Yeah, there's just something about like diving into people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a cool one. I want to crowd surf. Let's crowd surf.
It's going to
Let's
be a
do it.
while, but we'll try.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can do a 2-person? We could get my girlfriend and your fiance involved. Maybe we can do, that's like a 4-person crowd surf situation.
I think it could work. I think you get into a shallow end of a pool, and
Yes.
a lot of work. It can be done.
Yeah.
Maybe do you still have access to this $10,000 and the camera and what I assume is probably a bag of cocaine? Well, they were
Who knows
filming
where
very
that went?
bad things too, and then forgot some props.
It just occurred to me that like no one at the hotel ever said anything to me. Like the assistant could have totally lied to me about what errand I was running. That could have been a personal errand for her. What am I party to? I'm an accomplice in something.
Yeah, you're going to jail, son. You didn't even get to do any of the fun stuff that was involved. That's too bad.
Yeah.
The playlist gets a lot more punk with this next song, just purely by the name of the band.
Yes.
Is
and that's one of the reasons they're on there.
There's not
which
this is one of the bands I had not heard of. And
yeah, this is recent for me. And it's really only like I haven't done a deep dive into their songs and stuff yet, but I love this track.
Yeah, it's a good one. There's just something I can't get over that a quarter of the way into your playlist, there is a song called Romantic by Mannequin Pussy. It's very nice. It really like, sets the standard for the entire playlist, I think.
If this song was ever on the edge of like, is it going on? Is it not going on? It's like, well, the name of the band is Mannequin Pussy. It's got to go on.
Yeah, not put it on there. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I really did want to have a female vocalist on here somewhere because I feel like women in punk are fucking rad as hell. And this one, I don't know how like truly strict definition of punk it is, but it's badass vocals.
Yeah, it's a cool song for sure. It's like it was another one I'm just like looking out the window. As my parents are driving me. I've got little headphones on. Little Mike is just like, I'm sick of this shit, man. There's got to be people out there that are mad just like me. And then you stumble upon Mannequin Pussy, and you're like,
yeah,
it's gonna be okay.
They
you
feel
gotta find your tribe. Cloud Things by Psychic Trauma comes up next, and this is what's
Psychic Trauma by Cloud Nothings.
Huh?
Psychic Trauma by Cloud Nothings.
Yep, I said that backwards. I thought you were saying it was the second track or something. I was very confused as to what was happening.
It was a switch.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I didn't know this one. Another one that I didn't know and was just like fucking solid rock tune.
All their stuff's like that. They have one of their favorite songs of mine is like this 8-minute just odyssey called Wasted Days, but it just builds to this incredible conclusion. But this was like one year I was like, I don't listen to enough music. I'm gonna go and see like what are Pitchfork's best albums of the year, and one of theirs was on there.
Oh, nice!
And it just shreds all their stuff. Shreds. I think they might be more post-hardcore than punk. I don't know what that is, but that's what Wikipedia says.
Slaps. They're slaps. Let's go into this next one because it is the final Death from Above song on the playlist.
Yes. This is off of their first album. It's more sludgy. You can hear that it's not as produced as like the newer stuff. Their first album was a breakup album, so it's all a little angry, aggressive, that type of thing. This one's not quite that, but it just like there's something about the drum rhythm that kicks in maybe like 3/4 of the way through the song that I find totally irresistible. Like
Mhm.
every time it comes on, I'm just like, do, 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 do. Ugh, ugh, shivers. I love it.
What year was that? It's like 2004, 2005. Is that college for you?
2004. No, 2004 for me is like sophomore year of high school.
So yeah, a young Maxwell punching the walls.
Yeah, right. And I think they say you find your favorite band when you're like around the age of 15 or something like that. And maybe that's what, like, maybe people hear this song and they're just like, I don't get it at all. But I think at that age, when you hear something so aggressive that just like captures your teen angst so well, you're just like, I'm gonna listen to this well into being a 30-year-old man and rock out on my way to my 9 to 5.
Yeah, that's really funny to me. Just like the idea of like what you hear, what your favorite bands are, and then like how that sort of like colors the rest of your life. Because I went to high school up in Santa Clarita, California, and the thing that was really big there, and I had no experience with it because I had just moved from Nashville, was the like SoCal punk rock scene. So it was like Fat Records. I don't know if you've heard of like Lagwagon, like
Mm-hmm.
Strung Out, Pennywise, and like there's a bunch of like there's a million bands in that little subgenre thing. And then it's funny because every once in a while, like I have a playlist that's just called like photoshopping to double bass, because all of that stuff is like, it's just like super driving.
And is that good for Photoshop? Working in
It
Photoshop?
kind of is, because you're just like, you're just like, especially when you have to like meticulously like pen tool out something. You don't want something slow. It feels like it took twice as long.
Right.
And I'll still listen to that and just remember like the first time you hear something that aggressive and that driving and like snappy too. It's really pretty impressive. But the point I was going to make is like, I know people who's like, they're like, what's your favorite band? They're like, probably Pennywise. You're like, really? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like so funny to me to think that like to your point, right? Like other people might hear this and be like, I don't really get it, but you hear it, it means something to you. And then like you connect with the band on a totally different level than like just hearing a song and liking it or not liking it. That it's like, it like helps define who you are. And I feel like if
Yeah.
you never moved out of Santa Clarita, Pennywise is probably your favorite band. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just surprising to me because there's so much other stuff to listen to. It's
Right.
like cool. It's cool when you can like sing along to a Pennywise song from like 1995, but it's not, it feels
Yeah.
weird to me that if like that's the only thing you still listen to.
Yeah. It's really bizarre, and like I'm guilty of it.
What a
I've had the
weird
same.
rant. Sorry. I'm not, there's
Fuck
no
you,
anger or
Pennywise.
judgment. It's an observation. I swear to God. If you're like like I still like Lagwagon, I still listen to Millencolin occasionally. Just
Yeah.
putting it out there.
That I mean, I've had the same sort of like roaming, growing library since my parents got me my first iPod when I was
Mhm.
in, like a probably around that time sophomore in high school. And like I can't ever bring myself to prune it because all that stuff, even if I listen to it and I'm like, I don't actually think this is very good, but I'm like, I'm gonna be in the mood for it at some point. Like I'm gonna want to listen to this one Yellow Card song at some point, and I don't want to have to type it into the search bar. You
Right.
know which one?
Yeah, of course. Ocean Avenue, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right to that same point, like I wouldn't like think you were an idiot for being like, who's your favorite band? Probably Yellow Card. But it's just like, it would be so surprising to me. You know what I mean? I'd be like, tell
Yeah.
me everything you know about Yellow Card. They'd be like, yeah, well, I'm sure they know everything about all of the guys, It's like kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like Yeah, well, the violin guy, he didn't use traditional strings. I don't know if you know that. You're like, oh, cool.
Yeah. We went to Juilliard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people's music preferences do seem to get like, frozen in amber to a certain extent. I definitely like. It's not like in my 20s or 30s. I feel like I got into country or I'm going to get into country, right? Like, it's off the table. It's been off the table forever. And then so many of my favorite bands, like I'm that way with Deftones, where that's my favorite band of all time. I've been listening to them every album that they've released, and they've released like 8 over the years now. Every one I buy as soon as it comes out, and I think it's awesome. And it's like I can't imagine these are still really good to anyone who's coming into it at this point, but I will defend it with my life.
Sure. That's sort of like Pavement, Steve Malkmus. Anytime Stephen Malkmus comes out with a new album, I absorb it. And
I've never even heard of this person.
Fun. Oh, I'm gonna make you a playlist of
All right.
90s indie nonsense. But like that same point, I was like, I don't even know if I like it, but like he's been, it's like when Wes Anderson comes out with another film, like I'm gonna go see it. I'm not even 100% sure I love Wes Anderson movies anymore, but I did so strongly that like it's impossible for me not to like see things through a lens that he helped create, Interesting. Yellow Card.
And there's always
you got to revisit Yellow Card, man.
I feel like there's got to be some bands like that got short shrift where it's like, it turns out Yellow Card was actually super complex and super awesome. I mean, maybe not Yellow Card, but there's got to be bands like
They're
that.
doing like fucking crazy like math rock prog bullshit. And they're like, they were like, it was like, what was the one band like Chumbawamba? They were the one, they did like Tub Thumping.
Yeah.
But for I feel like I have heard that like they were like a gross bar punk rock band. They did that song almost as a joke and like made it big. It's like sort of the opposite of that, right? So if it's like a band that's doing these like really interesting like musical exploration and then they sort of write a pop song on a lark, gets super popular and people are like, I hate the rest of the album. And it's just like not fair. Like now they're like one-hit wonders.
That's got to burn you up so bad. Deftones, to bring it back to them because they're incredible, but White Pony is like, they were sort of lumped in with all these other new metal bands. White Pony is just like such a evolution on that sound and adds so much and really like elevates them beyond the genre. But then the record company was like, we really need like a super marketable single. And they basically wrote a rap rock song, like as a like, fuck you, this is how it is. Hugely popular.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
It's funny. I think I knew enough people that were like into the Deftones to know better than to like be like, oh, you know what bands I don't really like is like Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park and the Deftones, like I never thought of like, because there was like kind of that era with these like it was like new metal-y stuff and people wanted it to be like K-Rock needed a new sound so bad and that's what they picked.
Yeah. Oh, and I used to love that stuff, man. Limp Bizkit, Korn. I will argue that Korn has long-lasting artistic merit in some of their early albums, but Limp Bizkit is like inexcusable.
I still don't quite understand what happened there. I don't think anyone liked it in the moment either. I did hear a story recently, and it might just been quarantine madness, but a friend of mine was over at someone's house, and they were talking about like, when's the last time you saw live music? God, I don't even know when I'd ever go see a live music show again. Like, I'd be too nervous to do it anytime within like the next year, probably, even if everything cleared up, and they were sort of like, having that conversation about like how just strange it all is, this like new normal or whatever dumb thing you want to call it. And they were like, well, what's the one band if they had a show this weekend you would go anyway? And you know, they're talking through things. That was her answer. That was her answer, was Limp Bizkit. And I had to be like, and you followed up, right? You made sure she was just making a joke. And I was like, not a joke. Not a joke. I find that so fascinating. I feel like that lumps into the same thing, right? Like she probably didn't have a ton of like music in her life. And then at one moment, like she decided she was going to do it all for the nookie. And then she did. And it just fucking, it just clicked with her in a way that other music hadn't. And I really do find that fascinating.
That's really interesting. Godspeed to her for just, owning it.
Saying it out loud, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. My music's weird because I feel like you and I listen to a pretty good amount of music. Our identities are pretty firmly wrapped up in it, or at least it's a big part of it. And it was that way when I was listening to Limp Bizkit. Or like the fact that my mom and the news hated them, I was just like, fuck yeah, I love this shit. Yeah. But I feel like there are bands that do angry in a way that's more thoughtful, I think, and has more artistic merit.
It's a vibe.
But like, I mean, also like these songs in this place, like they're 2 minutes of like very simple hooks and melodies and like drums and stuff like that. So I don't know, man, maybe Limp Bizkit's secretly great. I don't fucking know.
It's probably really not. It really isn't. Yeah, it's really just not. Sorry, I hate to be that guy. I love being like, oh yeah, sure. But I'm not. It is bad. It's bad. In the moment, bad. We knew it was bad.
What about Papa Roach? Any merit?
Sure. It's ridiculous. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous, but like, it's still like a well-crafted, like, we're talking, the only Papa Roach song I know is the Papa Last Roach resort. Song. Right. It's a solid guitar riff. Like, it's a great lick. And it's like, it's a well-crafted song, it goes in between things. You find yourself singing it days later if someone is an asshole and sings it as you're walking by them. It's very earwormy. Yeah. There's certainly merit to Papa Roach. I don't love it. Think of a nicer way to say it. Yeah, I don't like it very much, but it's like, I get why someone would be like, yeah, fucking crank that song. It made sense in the moment too. When it came out, people were like, oh fuck, that bangs,
Yeah. I was real big into Papa Roach when I was in 6th grade. I had my Papa Roach shirt that I convinced my mom to buy me, which was like a big deal, letting me wear that. I painted
you went into Hot Topic, I assume?
Yeah. I painted my fingernails on my left hand black because that's what the lead singer did. I don't even know that guy's fucking name, but I was painting my fingernails black. And then I was also like a skateboard poser at that time.
Cool.
And I really liked the skateboarder Chad Muska, and he used to like wear like sweatpants and pull one leg up. So I would do that too on the days I wore my Papa Roach shirt. It was a bad scene.
Tell me there's pictures of that.
I don't think there are. I'm not, normally I'm on my parents about not taking more pictures, but there's some phases that I'm glad were missed.
Are we just like the very last group of individuals? Like my generation into yours, I feel like you're the last, because I'm a bit older than you. We're the last group of people who don't just have a seemingly limitless trove of like media, sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Just like
camera roll, like just tons of photos and
just like you can just go through, you see, you can watch someone grow up in pictures. Like that is, it will never not be like that now.
Yeah. I'm glad to have only come in on the tail end of that. Yeah. There's a bunch of, I think I got Facebook probably when I was a junior in high school. And when it first came out, you're like, oh yeah, I got to put all the pictures up on there. And then, following the trends of everyone, you have that backlash to it. And then people get back on it. Now it's Instagram, whatever. I'm just not a picture person. So maybe if I was born 10 years later, I would be, but
I always like taking them. But I've never like, when people are like, let's gather up, let's take a picture. I'm like, no. Because you don't want to, I have like some weird like fake philosophy, I think, in my brain where it's like, I don't want to remember the moment from like the picture. Do you know what I mean? It's like a shitty souvenir. It always seemed to me. And like the selfie is like the cherry on top of that line of thinking. But I've come around because I'm just a happier person, I think, these days.
Yeah.
It is more fun to take pictures when you're documenting. I think the word I was looking for earlier was documenting your entire life. But like documenting a bunch of good times is actually pretty fun. I get why people get obsessed with it.
Yeah. Well, I like candids. I hate posing. I don't want to pose for a picture. And then as soon as taking photos interrupts the fun of what I was doing, I'd get like actually irritated.
Yeah.
And I don't like lash out at people about it, but in my mind, I'm always like, are we seriously going to sit here for 10 minutes and try and get this perfect photo? We were having a great time. You could have taken pictures of us having a great time. And then when we look back, we'd be like, oh, we were having a great time. But now we just have the picture of all of us lined up and you're just like, oh, I remember that night, I guess. But
100, yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it.
All right, solved.
The drones. The song is it's a very loose format on this show.
Yeah.
I can't believe we have to go through 11 fucking songs. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's go rapid fire, and then we'll do general question, music question.
This is your fault.
This is your fault. You have to do 11 songs.
When you made the format, you were begging me to do this.
I think it's fun. I think it's really funny. Well, I think it's funnier before I realized I was going to interview you about it and go through each song.
Yeah. Let's do a quick.
Now we're in it.
Yeah, we can run through some really quick. Actually, this one does actually have a cool story though.
Yeah, hit me.
The Drones, Tom and Shud. All right, so Australian rock band. Apparently, there's a British rock band also named the Drones, which is nice and confusing. But Australian rock band. So Tom and Shud is Persian. It means something like the end or like will end, something like that. So in 1948 in Australia, they find this dead body on the beach. This guy looks like he's been poisoned. No identification. No one knows who he is. After like 6 months, they check his pockets again and they find a little slip of paper that's been ripped out of a book, and it just says Tom and Shud on it, like, the end. So the police put out the search. They're like, does anyone know, like, can anyone match this torn piece of paper with a book or whatever? They find it. It's a book by some poet. And in the back of the book where the paper was torn out, they can see the indentation of a phone number, what looks like some kind of code, and some other like random notes. So it's just this, this missing person who no one knows who they are. And so the singer is using that as the framework to look at Australian politics. Like, if you go line by line in the song, it's pretty, from an outsider's perspective, I don't know anything about Australian politics, not really, but it's pretty dense in terms of like calling out specific politicians and specific policies. There's something about like, one of the lines is like, I don't care if you can send the boats back, which I guess was one of the conservative leaders, like he promised to turn the boats around in reference to immigrants and things like that. So it's talking about this dead guy that no one cares about, and then talking about, how no one seems to care about the immigrants that are like washing up on Australia's shores. And then on top of that, it's just like a fucking banger. I love the sound of the song. Yeah, I've been obsessed with this song for months now.
Cool. I'll hit up Tom and Shed Genius Google search.
That's exactly where I learned like all of that. And one of the politicians he calls out specifically responded and was like, "This is the kind of degenerate that we're fighting against." Like that, just typical bullshit.
Australia seems cool. If it weren't for the bugs, that'd be on my list of places to escape to in after like mid to late November.
I'd like to go. The flight seems insurmountably bad to me. Like that seems really, truly awful.
Lauren and I are taking a plane ride in next May. Hopefully that doesn't seem like a crazy fucked up thing to do in May, but to Tampa for a wedding. It's like just outside of Tampa. It's like, that's a plane ride I don't ever want to take. It's so long. It's like a couple of hours, and I'm freaking out about, not having space to just like, I don't know. I don't like being in a plane too long. I like flying. It's kind of cool that you're a man in the sky.
Yeah,
We're not supposed to be there. There's something really
but we
neat about that.
are.
My friend
Definitely. And the
Ryan.
longest flight. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, my friend Ryan once he brought that, observed it out loud in a really interesting way, and he was just like, he was like, a plane went by and he was just quiet for a second. He was like, "Oh, there's like 100 people just right there." It's like fucking crazy, and it is crazy. Whenever you see a plane, you got to remember there's just a bunch of humans and luggage up there, and they're not supposed to be up there.
Yeah.
Awesome. What were we going to say? I'm sure it was more interesting than that.
I don't remember, but I have something equally interesting, possibly not interesting. But just I was doing mushrooms with some people, and we were sitting out in a field, and a plane flew over, and someone was like, "God, it's so fucking crazy! Like $300, and you can just fly through the air." And it's like, yeah, $300 plus all of human achievement up to this point is like what that ride costs.
That's the cost, right?
Yeah, but it's incredible.
That is incredible.
Did we just go on a planes are awesome detour?
Yeah. Which brings us to Mother by Idols.
Right. So Robin had an Idol song on his playlist.
Yeah, it's our second Idol spotting.
Yeah, I mean, so these guys say that they are not a punk band and say it somewhat angrily. But Wikipedia disagrees.
Yeah, screaming at people that you're not a punk band is a pretty punk thing to do, honestly.
Yeah. But these guys, like, just the drones, they sort of get into like political messages and things like that. There's something about the best way to scare a Tory is to read books and get rich or whatever. I just love that line. And he says it so many times.
What is the story? I remember when I was talking to Robin about them, it was like they're a punk band whose message is like, be fucking nice to each other, you assholes, and it's like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Positive and punk.
It's cool to see what would normally look like, super macho, like typical male toxic bullshit guys really embrace positive messages through music. I mean, I don't know anything about music and instrumentation. I can't tell if someone's playing well or not, but just like the really basic rhythms and stuff these guys come up with, I really enjoy.
Nice. You are a guitar player, though, just for the record.
I have started learning guitar. I would not call myself a guitar player. That's my quarantine hobby. People out there.
That guy plays guitar.
Learning guitar. I know some chords. I can strum a little bit. Sometimes I drop my pick. I learned my first scale today.
Pentatonic?
I'm not good at. Yeah, I'm not
That's
good at
one.
it. It was like the lessons were scales. It was the scale, and then it was string muting, and I was just like, "Oh, I could get this scale. I think I could do this." And then I got to string muting, and I was like, "What the?" no one tells you that this is a thing you have to do when you learn
Yeah.
when you start guitar.
Yeah, you do different stuff. I think the smartest move is to start learning on an electric guitar. The second you said dropping my pick occasionally made me think of all of the times I dropped my guitar pick into the hole in the guitar, and then
Right.
you spend like 20 minutes like trying to flip it or shake it, and it's
Yeah.
just not. It's not the best. It's not ideal. It's really not.
Yeah. I'm liking the electric for sure. At the place we're house sitting, I don't have my setup, so I'm playing it as if it were an acoustic, which is not ideal, but it's the job done.
It's fun, man. I've got one of these days we'll do a spin-off and we'll just talk pedals with people. It's like I would love to talk about all these pedals down here. But that's a different time, different place.
I haven't even explored that world. One really dumb thing I was gonna say in regards to muting is all that stuff you do with your hands to like mute strings. I thought that was just dudes like feeling the passion, like they were just like, "Ooh, fucking solo." It turns out that there's utility to it, and it's really hard.
That's funny. Yeah, I would have never thought about that either. Literally until you said that. Yeah, that's just they're just going for it.
Yeah,
that's funny. What was the post-punk revival song on this list?
that is Idols.
It is, right?
Idols is post-punk revival. Well, it would be. I don't know if people actually use that term, but yeah, post-punk revival.
According to an internet search.
Yes, but it's like all these bands, post-punk, post-hardcore, whatever. It's like it's punk, but a little more complex. They embrace more sounds. Like, there can be electronic influence, stuff like that. And I'm just like, well, what's the fucking difference, man?
Yeah.
I sounded angrier than I meant it
to. Do you play fast and mean?
Yeah.
So that does it for me. So
what's your average song length? Under 3 minutes?
What's that?
I said, are your songs less than 3 minutes?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a big stipulation.
The last three.
Show Me the Body.
So Show Me the Body. It's just some kids from, I think, Brooklyn. They write simple songs that kind of have good drive to them. I like demoed this playlist on my girlfriend to see, like, I was like, when would you stop listening? And I thought it might be at this one, but she dug it just because she thought the lyrics that you can hear are somewhat sweet, I guess. It's about family and friends and stuff like that. So that, small band, I just dig them. Next one is Deuterella.
Great band.
Queer punk band out of Los Angeles. And the last show I will ever see at the Satellite in Silver Lake.
That is such a bummer. They're like, the rumor is they're no longer going to play live shows and they're basically becoming an Applebee's, which is upsetting.
Yeah, some kind of restaurant. I really took that place for granted over the years, like between comedy shows, Dance Yourself Clean, cheap or free shows. Like that was a really incredible place, and I am very upset that COVID killed it.
Same. I think the places I really liked seeing shows were the Troubadour and the Satellite for different reasons, but like,
the Troubadour's fucking incredible.
It's like, is the Troubadour going to be okay? I remember reading like a month ago that it was in a lot of trouble, and I stopped reading it because it made me so sad.
I hadn't heard that, but I mean, I can't. It's just sitting there. I can't imagine it's good.
They're not slinging apps. You know what I mean? They're not like you can't pick up a fucking cold hoagie from the Troubadour. You can't Postmates a fucking side of anything. It sucks. Yeah, it's gonna die. And that was like my favorite place to like listen to someone who can play music really well.
Yeah, I saw the Deftones there, which is insane for like to see that band in such a small venue, and they didn't pack the place. So it was like I
How's that
walked in
possible?
late. Yeah, it was like there was like a lot of people, but it was like I came in late, went to the bar, got a drink, and then stood 3 rows from the lead singer. If I leaned forward, I could have touched him. Like it was
But you were
just
respectful and
maddening.
you didn't.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I tried to get a whiff, but no luck.
I was at the Troubadour once and I saw a band called Do Make Say Think, which I really like.
Oh,
You know,
you love those dudes.
I love those dudes. A lot of really great little musical numbers, instrumental rock band out of Canada. And there's this one song off of an album that like it kind of goes for it just a little bit. They're not a go for it kind of band. And it's one of my favorite songs that they've recorded. It's called Horns of a Rabbit. And they're playing it, and halfway through my phone is vibrating, and it's like vibrating and it's vibrating. I'm like, God, who's calling me right now? You know, I finally like go to check it. My phone is it's just going insane. It's like going through different settings and it's like it is completely lost its mind. At the end of the song, as there's just like weird reverb feedback going, my phone just turns off and never turned on again. It's incredible. The Troubadour killed my phone. It was awesome. It's
Oh
totally worth it.
man, excised a demon from your Android.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I think that would have been like one of the very first like Android phones too, like back in the day. And I had to get a new one.
And I got to check out more.
Duderella. What else? So they're like a contemporary
Yeah,
band.
so
Like,
they're this yeah, they're one of their albums like just came out. Queer punk band. I saw them at this show. This other band opened for them that was called Pussy Tuesday. Uh, because that's like I guess that's a punk thing. But
is it a
these guys
playoff
like
of Taco Tuesday?
oh Michael.
Is
Uh,
is it obvious that it is, or is it dumb that I thought that?
oh, I thought you were making a joke, but actually maybe it is.
I think that's the joke. I think that might be the joke, and I'm here for it.
Oh man, this changes everything about that show for me. But this band, it's another two-piece. And so I was there to see the band that was playing after them. A friend was playing, and I was like, I just remember I was facing the bar talking to this person next to me, and these guys started playing. And it was just like, what is that? And just
Right.
turned around. Plus, I told the singer afterwards that he was awesome, and he gave me a bunch of free stickers. So huge fan.
Dude, I love a free
Yeah.
sticker.
And I was like, I should put it on my laptop. Actually, I don't know anything about that. Maybe not.
Did you just show that you didn't put it on your laptop?
I don't know why I felt the need to act that out. That was super weird.
That was a little weird. And then the most I would argue the most punk song, or at least band name,
Yes.
plays us out. And that band is called Pissed Jeans.
Pissed jeans. I love this band. I just started listening to them this year. But I've gone all back through their catalog. And the thing I love about them is they are always in on the joke. Like the same way with Idols, where like you might expect this sort of like machismo bullshit posturing. These dudes just like subvert that at all times. Like their most recent album is kind of about how crappy men are. They have a song "Bars Low," which is just about how low the bar is to be considered a good dude these days. And then this song is just pure. This song is just pure like contrarian petulance. Like I could show up with the coldest six pack, but I don't bother. I could tell a joke that would make the whole room laugh, but I don't bother. Hell no to everything. Ugh. And it's just it revels in its own stupidity, and they know that it does, and that's why I love it so much.
I'm all in. I think it's a great playlist for your car.
Yeah.
It's so tailor-made for driving around town. Like just getting out of traffic is probably I like to ask people like what's the what recommended pairing, you know? And I think my guess would be the perfect time to listen to this playlist is when you can tell that traffic is about to let up, but it starts off and you're in traffic.
That's very specific, and I like it a lot. Yeah, especially, I mean, that opening track, like it feels like a God, what is like a countdown before a race or something. Those
Mm-hmm.
first couple of beats of it, and yeah, it's definitely way more energetic. I was gonna say like, you know, sativa plus like cleaning your apartment if you're trying to dance around a little bit and just like really just enjoy some beats while you're cleaning.
It's
But
get
yeah,
shit done music.
yeah, driving I think is probably better.
I agree. What was the very first album you paid money for?
Ooh. I think it might have been Fastball. I can't remember if the album was called The Way. I don't know if
I
that is the
believe it
same name as the
was.
same single.
It was the hit and the album.
Yeah. Rest of that album is fine. My friend's older brother told me that if you listen to the album in order without skipping anything, that then a secret track would play. And so one day when I was home sick from school, I did that, and I mean the album's not long, but it didn't work. But I was like, clearly I've done something wrong. And so then I tried like 6 more times. So lost an entire day doing that.
That's a great prank.
Yeah.
That's back
I don't
when
think he ever
pranks
knew
were
that.
funny.
Yeah, I don't think he ever knew that it worked either. It just like, I think I probably did. And I was like, I don't know why this isn't working. And then like 4 years later, I was like, wait a second.
Which is like the hallmark of an amazing prank.
Yeah. It was either Fastball. It might have been the City of Angels soundtrack just for the Goo Goo Dolls song, Iris, which everyone knows and loves. Or it might have been the Godzilla 2000 single, Come With Me,
Ooh,
Puff Daddy and Jimmy Page.
that's a real bad one. That's a
It's
real bad one. That's one of my.
It's so bad.
That's a whole like side conversation. That's one of my least favorite songs I've ever heard. I hate it.
It makes me, and that movie is atrocious.
It brings up an energy inside of me that I do not like. It is a bad song. Then he just says, "Come with me."
Yeah, it's truly terrible.
Because
yeah,
Kashmir is a good song. It's fine. I like it. And this is so much worse in every way.
It just doesn't need to exist, is the thing.
Same with the movie, honestly. Are you a Godzilla the movie fan with Matthew Broderick? Right?
It's one of the worst movies ever.
Yeah. I remember not liking the movie in the theater. And also really not liking that song played ever at all. And then you combine those together, and that wasn't a great weekend for me. I don't think. I don't remember.
Bad movie. Matthew Broderick deserves better. Bad single. What else? What other early albums did I buy? 1459 by Sugar Ray. That got out of play.
You still rep that pretty hard. I've heard you defend that on a few occasions when someone tries to like make a snide Sugar Ray comment, and you're like, actually, fuck you. That had several great songs on it.
Well, it's not like I can get this chest tattoo covered up, so Sugar Ray till I die.
Yeah. I was trying to think of like an every morning joke, and then I was like, I shouldn't, because it's and I'm glad I didn't. Just talking about a joke I didn't do is enough for me.
You still feel like you got credit?
Yeah, I didn't do nothing.
Right.
This has been fun, Maxwell.
What a blast. I finally got on the show.
And I'm already like looking forward to your second appearance, because I want to hear this it will live in lore, the trip hop playlist that you started building that's 4 hours long.
Lock it in a vault somewhere. The world will never hear it. I'm very interested to hear what people think of this playlist, so please pass on comments. I would be fascinated to know.
I'm going to get in trouble for this. I was playing it on the speakers the other night when you first sent it to me so I could listen to it and get familiar with it. It might not be related. Lauren, I rarely see her in a bad mood. Bad mood. Like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And she's like, oh, I'm just in kind of a bad mood. And that music is really annoying. I was on the second song. You have to be. So I listened to the rest of it with headphones on and enjoyed the adrenaline, but it's not for everyone. Lauren, Maxwell wants to say he's sorry. When she came over here, I made you apologize to her. You apologized to my fiance. Cool, man. This has been great.